Hey, Taste Buds. Hopefully, everybody had a really fantastic week. We did, I would say, but hopefully, you did too. In the terms of pop culture, it's kind of a slow week.
And you know what? Sometimes that's a good thing for these people.
Agreed. Sometimes no news is the best news because in our line of work, very seldom is it, good news that's making the headlines.
And I feel like this was a very petty week, and that's the news I love. Like I love these low stakes stories, you know.
100%.
And it's always around that holiday transition into the new year where it's the arrests, the
Yeah.
divorces.
Yeah.
It- I'm glad that it's petty. We're here for petty.
We're here for petty, to your point, low stakes, nothing that's like do or die. It's just something fun to snark on that you don't feel like a terrible person for like snarking on it.
And that I think leads us to our first topic today, which is something that's brought me so much joy. Imani, have you loved the Ben Affleck doesn't know who Lisa Barlow's story as much as I do?
I mean, oh my gosh. And how embarrassing. How embarrassing for
Baby
Lisa.
gorgeous. Oh
So, guys,
gosh.
for context, as we know on Salt Lake City, Lisa Barlow missed the RV trip at the top of the season because she was doing Sundance tings. She was rubbing shoulders with Hollywood's elite to the tune of Ben Affleck, Blake Lively, etc. So that was her bargaining chip on the show or her claim to fame. And then
As we know, the
Ben,
woman loves to name drop. It is
she
her favorite
does. And
pastime.
so that's the thing. If you're going to name drop, make sure that like if it lands on the desk of that person, that they're going to corroborate your story. Because lately, I don't know if you've realized this, I feel like Bravo is the new equalizer in the sense of on the red carpets they ask, or like in interviews they ask about Bravo, they ask about heated rivalry, things like that. So I don't know if this is the new thing to like have Hollywood relate to us plebeians is to like talk about reality TV. I don't know, but have you noticed that uptick on red
Yes,
carpets and
and I love
interviews?
it. I mean, and people like in the news, like the John
Yes.
Olivers are commenting. I
Yeah.
love
So do you want to make mention of what Ben said? Because you did the article.
Okay, Ben was so polite.
He
The
was.
thing is that Ben was dancing so delicately not to embarrass this woman.
Yeah.
But the fact is that the way she framed it was that they were friends, that they're like right on top of each other, working hand in hand.
Right.
And that is just simply not what it was. And the thing is, if she wouldn't have framed it that way, like you guys, friends, Imani and I are joking when we're like, well, we're obviously best friends with Nicole Scherzinger.
Well, total
We're,
joke, you guys.
I mean, obviously we're joking. There's no joke with Lisa. There's no tongue in cheek. She really is Delulu, and Ben was trying so hard to be friendly and
He
nice.
was.
And
Matt
Matt
Damon.
Damon was even trying to like feed him like, oh, maybe it was Sundance if it's Salt Lake City. It ended up being South by Southwest. Lisa responded to Ben not knowing who she was and was like, oh, it was South by Southwest, and she named the movie it was. He still doesn't know who she is, but that's when Angie K jumped in and said, yeah, he doesn't know who Lisa is, but I bet he knows who Celia is, and that's her iconic poodle. And I love a dog being brought into any storyline, so here we are. Enter Celia.
Yeah, I think the fact that Lisa takes herself so seriously, it was like she was going to be trolled.
So let me ask you, Imani, at this point, where do you think Lisa Barlow is emotionally? Is she embarrassed? Or is she still so delusional that she really like thinks that she and Ben, because I don't get that she's embarrassed
I don't get an
personally.
embarrassed vibe from Lisa because that would have to, if you are embarrassed, that means you have to have some sort of like self
Self-awareness,
awareness.
right?
Thank you for that.
No,
And
it's true, right? Like I'm not crazy on this.
no, 100%.
Okay.
I think that you would have to have some sort of self awareness or like can read a room. And I don't know that Lisa has that capability at this point. So therefore, I don't think she would know shame. I
Right.
think that based off of her actions, and you can't,
Right.
so I'm just like, this is awkward, but it probably won't. The fact that Lisa Barlow was brought up to him probably holds more weight than him not knowing who she was. And
Oh
I
my God.
and I will say, having been in celebrity adjacent spaces before, when you are on the clock and working, a face is a face. So like you genuinely might not even like realize you're even speaking to a person when you're in a context like South by Southwest or Sundance. Like you're very much so in work mode. Okay, great example. At BravoCon, like you could say, look, oh my gosh, I run Taste of Reality, and they might hear you, but they're not gonna clock and put two and two together because like they're in work mode. Like it's a factory. Oh, it's another
Right. That
person
was
I'm
me with the
meeting.
guys from Page Six. Like I went up to Evan and Danny and was like, "Oh my God." And they were like, "Oh my God, I know you." And I'm like, "Sure you do." They would never remember me on the street, but that's the difference between me and Lisa Barlow.
Correct. So yeah, that's slightly awkward for Lisa. I don't know that she reads it that way. I would encourage her to stop name dropping unless you know 1,000,000% that if brought up to them, they'll be like, oh yeah, Lisa, yeah, I saw her in passing at South by Southwest. I know she's on Bravo, but that's so funny she brought it up.
Right. But like
Something
how
like
little
that.
do you have? My thing is, how little do you have to contribute if all you're doing is name dropping? Like be more interesting. Like what do you do?
I
Like
think
like what are your hobbies? What are your skills? Like what do you do? Like how do you what's your personality?
my thing, people who name drop and like place value on who they know or like the rooms that they're in is so boring to me. Like, and also it leads me to feel like you're gonna air things out. Like be a vault sometimes, or just Lisa, just lead with, I was doing big things, I was working, I was at South by
At South by
Southwest,
Southwest, period.
and people can glean from that what they want. She did the same thing, in my opinion, that Heather Gay did later in the season regarding Captain Jason. She specifically put it in people's laps so that they could be like, oh my gosh, Heather hooked up with Captain Jason. That is what everybody, we're not all dumb. Like, we're
Right.
not all missing that. Like, you insinuated that you hooked up with Captain Jason, not that
She
you
said
guys.
effing around. Come on, girl.
Correct.
Don't play us for fools. I hate
And
that.
so, Lisa Barlow, you wanted us to think that you quite literally were seated at Ben Affleck's table at South by Southwest, but you weren't. So, like, don't act like the audience misconstrued anything.
Right.
No, we just walked the door that you opened.
Right.
Like,
Exactly. And can please people stop throwing strays at poor Ben Affleck? I mean,
I
first the
know.
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and now he's not into this. You know, he clearly didn't want, he looked uncomfortable to me. Like the whole thing, he was just like, what am I doing here? First of all, shout out to, I don't know who the interviewer was at Access
Oh my
Hollywood.
gosh, that's Emily. Love her down.
Okay,
Um,
that was the best question. Good for you, girl. That was the question we wanted to know, and we thank you.
No, Emily runs Housewives Nightcap with Lauren Herbert. They're both, I'm pretty sure, ooh, I don't want to say the wrong network. They're with Access Hollywood, I want to
It's Access
say.
Hollywood. I
Okay.
used them and I referenced them just earlier today.
Okay. So Lauren and Emily, shout out to them, follow their Instagrams. They both run that and they both work for to your point, Access Television. So she
Hollywood,
asked
yeah.
that. She is one of us. So the fact that she did what we needed to be done and she asked the question.
Journalism.
Journalism.
A former
Journalism.
teacher right here is giving you a gold star, young lady. Good
Excellent.
job.
Excellent. Shout out to that. So that was slightly not great for Lisa, but she probably takes it as a win regardless, and love that for her.
Woo. Well, while we're on Salt Lake City, can you walk us through the Monica Garcia Salt Lake City allegations about Heather? Because Monica is popping off.
Yeah, Monica's still, I think she has some resentment toward the ladies, and I think largely she has resentment toward Heather Gay, because I honestly do feel if Heather wasn't leading the charge regarding Monica, if Monica comes back, none of us are filming with her. So I think Monica's main grudge is with Heather, and her main axe to grind is with Heather. And so she's making allegations along the lines of Heather makes everyone do her bidding. She puts things in their laps for them to then air out on the show or do whatever they need to do with the information. So she's pretty much, still sticking to that Heather is the one that, okay, so regarding reality Von Teese, spoiler alert, if you've not made it to season 4, I think, of Salt Lake, that's when I'm pretty sure is the reality Von Teese, or maybe it was season 5, whatever.
Or,
It was,
yes.
okay, season 4. Monica was one of the people behind the Stan account, Reality Von Teese, and allegedly, apparently, per Monica, Heather would message with the account saying, hey, I found this information, post it or whatever. And Monica said she went on record to say, no, anything that Heather wants to expose, Heather needs to do herself on the show. That was allegedly in the burn book that Monica had at the reunion, but we never saw really what the burn book was. It fell quite flat, honestly.
So flat.
It fell extremely flat. Props 10 to anyway. So yeah, her main thing is that like Heather wants people to do her bidding, and she said that Heather brought it to Reality Von Tease, and they chose to not post anything that Heather would, write in. And so that leads to the theory that the reason why Heather didn't want Monica back another season was because of potentially what Monica could expose of Heather. So it all makes sense. And then the drama with Beauty Lab and Laser, it's
I'm a
interesting.
Heather Gay apologist, and I believe Monica.
I as well. Monica, what does Monica have to lose at this point?
Everything checks. And I know you love Heather Gay too.
Yeah.
Again, in my imagination, we're friends because we had a 10-minute conversation, but I see a world where Monica's being very honest about that.
I, you know, I like Heather Gay. I think that she's losing a lot of people with how she's kind of trying to be the leader of mom talk, so to speak. Like
LOL.
I just feel like she's trying really hard to be the narrator of the show, and she's gonna lose all of the fans that she's had for being the most authentic, and it's
Right.
reading so inauthentic, especially when she drinks just like all the other women in excess on these girls trips, just like all the other women. It would be one thing if she had like one beer, but like that's
Right.
not her reality, which is fine.
Right.
They're on a girls trip. Get
Right.
sloshed. You're filming a reality TV show. I don't want to see everybody clutching their pearls and like at the convent.
Right.
But like don't say Meredith is X,
Right.
Y, and Z when you're A, B, and C.
True. Preach, girl. Yeah. Sorry, Heather, but that's just, we call it like we see it, and that's how we see it.
That's how we see it. And we can still like people and still
Right.
not like what
Well,
they
like,
do.
I don't have any perfect friends.
I
I
don't.
am not a perfect friend. I am not I mean, we all have flaws. It's just like you kind of, there are things, that you just kind of, that's just how she is, whatever. And then there are things like, no, I can't continue a friendship with this person because of, big differences in who we are and our philosophies. And that's not this. Like, this is silly. Again, it's silly.
It's silly, 100%. So I'm excited for part two of the reunion. I feel like part one, we talked about it on our recap. If you've not watched that and you're a Salt Lake City watcher, we posted recaps from this entire season, and we recapped the reunion last. And so we will continue to recap the next two parts of the reunion. But I think it's going to be good. So I'm excited to get more information and more
Yeah, I'm here
context.
for it. How do you feel? First thing, let's slide over to Jersey. Real quick, I don't know if you noticed this, but Juicy Joe is starting a cookie line, LOL. I mean, he saw Melissa hit gold with her sprinkle cookies. He's making his like Nona's almond cookies, whatever.
Yeah.
Good luck, Joe. Good luck. But more interestingly, I think is the Gia situation.
You guys, so first off, to the Joe thing, I don't like cheater brands, not to be Bethany Frankel, but I just don't. It's not interesting to me. I think be original, do your own thing, have your own concept. Obviously, everybody, sees what works for other companies, and no one wants to reinvent the wheel. Nobody wants to
Right.
work harder. Received. Certainly there is some copying in every industry, in every space, but also like do your own thing and use your own brain and figure out what makes your product special and lean
Amen.
into that. We all have our own perspective and our own voice, and so do your own thing, Joe. So that's my comment there. But regarding Gia, she recently announced this past week that she is going to the restaurant business with someone named Maria. I don't know who that is. She just referenced a friend. But they're opening up a restaurant in Westwood, New Jersey, set to open up this spring. Gia is very excited about it, though she totally used ChatGPT to write her caption. I could pinpoint it
Oh
immediately.
my God, how embarrassing.
But whatever. So yeah, she's gonna open up a business in Westwood. I made a TikTok on it and was like, whenever you guys do want to open it, we would love to come and taste the food. Just saying.
Yes. Yes.
Um, But I mean, good for her. I mean, I feel like being in the restaurant business for them kind of makes sense because food is kind of the bedrock in their family. Teresa has many a cookbook, and they've always wanted to open a restaurant. Now, what I should have done before this episode, and I didn't think about it, didn't they try to open up something in the
Okay.
past?
Okay, so I pulled this up from Taste of Reality. I published this on October 28th, 2024. Because when I saw you writing that, I'm like, hold on, this has been something that's been in the pipeline for a little while. So, from what they said, and this was a setup, I'm sorry, I'm not calling it a coincidence. This was a setup. Teresa and
By
Gia,
Todd.
right,
A setup by
LOL.
Todd.
LOL. Teresa and Gia were outside of a restaurant, and TMZ just happened to be there. And they talked about, I know, oh my gosh, you're at this private restaurant, and TMZ cameras just happened to be there. What a
Gasp.
coincidence.
Yeah.
In Jersey, in like a suburb in Jersey, makes so much sense. So paparazzi asked Gia what they were doing here. She said she's checking out a restaurant. Teresa chimed in to say that she wanted to run a restaurant. Specifically, they said not own. Teresa said she wanted to keep the family's legacy going, hold on to family traditions, and like you said, there's multiple cookbooks, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Thing is, this reeks to me of wanting a reality show
Well,
because,
yeah.
first of all, you're not owning it, you're just running it. What's the point? What's the point? Like, that is such hard work for something you don't have stake in. It doesn't make sense, period. I'm not going to argue that with anybody, period.
Well, to Lisa Vanderpump's point, and I forget what other whoever else has said it, everybody, but running a restaurant, historically speaking, is a very difficult business to run, and it's very small margins from what I've heard.
Right.
Um, Restaurateurs, it's difficult, but I think you're right about the reality TV aspect of it because in Gia's caption, she tagged Big Fish Productions,
Oh,
and they
I
are
didn't know that.
yeah.
Yikes.
So that's a production company that has put out X, Y, and Z reality shows. We did an article on it on tasteofreality.com. So more context there, but it's very obvious. And the fact that cameras are up in filming Next Gen NYC season 2, I'm sure this is going to be Gia's storyline coming to this decision to run this business. And I think it's interesting. I wouldn't be mad at kind of like a start to finish arc in the sense of like she introduced the concept on Next Gen NYC. We see behind the scenes of that, and then like it goes from conception to actual like the restaurant being open. I think that's interesting to see the process and behind the scenes, kind of similar to what Candy did on Atlanta with Old Lady Gang. Like it was cool to
Right.
see the
Loved it.
concept come to life. So I think there is a show there, but I
Even
just
with Tom Tom, we saw Tom Tom come to
right,
life. We
exactly.
saw all those, all of them, but a lot of Vanderpump's restaurants, and it's great. It's great TV.
No, it's so interesting to see how the sausage is made. I think that's something that we as reality TV watchers enjoy watching.
Mhm.
So I think there is a show here. Could the Giudice family carry a show on their own? I don't know. Um, I I I don't find necessary. Okay, here's this. So I didn't love Gia on season 1 of Next Gen NYC at all. I realized, she came out and was like, "Hey, that wasn't the best version of myself. I'm working on myself. I'm being better." Great. She went on Special Forces. Ashley and I totally flipped. I think about toward Gia and Teresa. My respect for both of them went up a little bit higher watching that. In my
My
view of
respect for Gia went up.
Gia, yeah, my Gia, I had a completely different viewpoint of her, and it really made me like her as a person.
Me too. I respect her. Whereas I never, she's a kid. I'm not
She's
gonna
a
like
child.
bully a
Yeah,
kid,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I really just turned a new corner with her at that.
Is she entertaining to me? No. Would it be absolute torturous for me to have to listen to her podcast? Yes.
Oh God.
I think she's very monotone. It's just not enjoyable.
I
I
can't
just
handle the vocal
Yeah,
fry.
and listen here, I'm not saying I have a voice for radio either, certainly. Like there's
I have
probably
a
people
face for radio.
I'm sure there's people who listen to Ashley and I, they're like, "Ew, yikes, nails on a chalkboard." Totally fair. But like Gia's just not a podcast that I tune into. I just find her not entertaining to me. So whether or not her family can have a show, I don't
But
know.
respectfully, we're not her target
And
audience.
you're right about that. And
And that's okay. It's
yeah,
not for us.
you're
And
right.
if there's an audience for her, good for her. I just don't know if people in her age range that would be her target audience really care.
Exactly. But
That's what I don't know. Maybe
I'm
they do.
I'm all for creating generational wealth with your family. I'm all for women in business. So I'm certainly not yucking on this yum for Gia. I hope it's successful. I hope that her and her sisters can have this. And I really want nothing but the best for Gia and her sisters. They deserve it. But restaurant work is hard. So
I would never, as somebody who married a chef, I would never recommend it. My husband left cooking during the pandemic, never went back. So much respect for people who work in restaurants, but the input and the output, and my
yeah.
husband like was a chef in Vegas on the strip, like a high level guy. The
Yeah.
input and the output just doesn't match,
And I
period.
can't imagine how taxing it is. Well, we saw how that affected Tom and Katie's marriage. Granted, they weren't on solid footing prior, sure,
Right.
but like it definitely didn't help things trying to open
Definitely
a
not.
bar restaurant situation.
Well, while we're talking about Tom and Katie, can we slip over to the other Tom and Ariana situation with the house?
Yeah. So the chapter isn't finally closed on it. They still are very much so in the throes of it, but the end is in sight. The light is coming for Ariana. Wait, like almost 3 years post Scandoval, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
that's crazy.
So they
That
reached.
house just sitting there, I don't know if anybody lives in it, but I mean that mortgage has to be at least like 8,000 a month, at least.
Ariana moved out of that home officially in May of 2023, and she bought a home in Hollywood Hills. Good for her. I think for like 1 point something million, which is great.
Right.
Tom moved in with his girlfriend Victoria in 2024. So I'm pretty sure, as far as I'm aware, the house is just sitting, which is
Oh,
that sucks having to pay double mortgage.
oh,
That
terrible.
sucks. But they did reach an agreement. And so long as all of those agreements are met in the settlement, then things will be done. But if not, they will then go to trial, I believe February 17th. I don't have the numbers up on my screen right now. But again, another plug for tasteofreality.com. All of the things that we're talking about for the most part live there. So if you ever want more context, go over to tasteofreality.com because it's all there. But yeah, so long as both parties reach the agreement, they'll be done. If they don't, they will go to trial. We don't know what the agreement is. TMZ, or it was Page Six, one of those two obtained the exclusive on that, but that is sealed, so we won't know exactly what it is their agreement is. But hopefully that comes to a head soon, so that they don't have to go to trial, because that sucks.
Oh gosh, that would just be terrible. But literally, how do I get in that courtroom?
No, literally, put us in the courtroom. I'll be
Yes.
the
Yes, I'll be
stenographer.
the stenographer.
And by that I mean writing it for Taste of Reality. Yes, I'm
Exactly,
stenog.
exactly.
Yes, I'm doing it. So
That's
muzzle
hilarious.
potentially to them. Otherwise, they'll be going to trial. But I can't imagine still being tied to Tom Sandoval. I can't imagine.
Sandoval.
I can't imagine.
But yes. Something that brings me a lot of joy is the Roaring 20 Ultimate Girls Trip announcement. How are you as excited about this as I am?
I am. I'm
You
very
know,
excited.
and I am not complaining. I'm just making a point as somebody who adores Portia Williams. She's the only one who's not an OG in the cast. So it's going to be like 8 women or something, but then they're going to be traveling around the country in a hopefully not a family van for Vicky
Hopefully not.
Gunvalson's sake.
Yeah.
And we love a Sprinter van on the Housewives, so let's pray for a great Sprinter van. And they will be going to different cities and visiting other housewives, but it's all OGs. It's Vicky Gunvalson. It's who was it from Salt Lake? It's Lisa, isn't
Lisa
it?
Barlow.
Lisa Barlow. And Nene is the only one. I've seen online discourse, people, whether or not you like Nene, I feel she fits in this
Nene's
cast
not a
better.
part of the core cast.
No, but I think we'll see her. Do you think we're going to see? Did you notice online Kelly Dodd was hanging out with
Yeah.
Jacqueline Larita and somebody else? I was like, I
Teresa
wonder.
is also on the core
And
cast.
Kelly Dodd, yeah. So that I thought was interesting because they're going to be visiting other cities and interacting with other housewives. Maybe that was part of the
I don't
cast trip.
I don't know, but yeah, according to the press release that came down from Bravo, Portia was on Watch What Happens Live, and I figured she would be on the principal cast once they used her Watch What Happens Live episode to announce it. So yeah, Portia will be one of the core cast members. Do you want to pull up the rest while I say my spiel about who all
Yeah.
is going to be on there? Yeah, so there's going to be over 60 housewives that are going to interact with those ladies as they go from city to city. There's also been discourse. People were upset because no one from Miami was represented in
I
the
didn't even notice that.
yeah, there was no one from I'm sorry, Miami listed on the core principal group. I think there's 7 or 8. So there was some heat for that. There was some, there's backlash about the cast, and because to your point earlier, Lisa's not an OG. So some people were upset about that. I can understand, and people were upset there was no Miami representation. I think they should have had like Alexia or Marisol, not both of them. I have to take them in small doses. Did you pull up the
Right.
list?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got it right here. So, first of all, the Photoshop they did of all the women, like just get new pictures already. And I see since the announcement they do have new pictures, but that's one of my biggest icks. So it's Vicky Gunvalson, Luann de Lesseps, Teresa Giudice, Kyle Richards, Giselle Bryant, Lisa Barlow. It makes sense. Honestly, all
I'm
of
not
it makes
mad.
sense except for Portia, but I love Portia so much that I don't even care.
Agreed. I agreed 100%. I'm here for it. I'm excited. The Roaring Twenties is still a working title. I think it's funny because obviously the Roaring Twenties were a thing, and this is the 20th year of Housewives. OC
And we're in
being
the 20s of the 2000s, so
yeah,
it all makes sense.
it all makes
Isn't that
sense.
weird to think that the Roaring 20s were 100 years ago?
It's wild. Do you know something else that I saw on social media that kind of blew my brain in not a great way? For those of my age who grew up on Disney Channel, how Gen Z regards High School Musical is how people of my generation regard Grease, and that's unsettling to me. That's
Wow.
unsettling to me. That like the people younger than me view High School Musical like how my generation or like my age demographic views
Right.
Grease.
Right. Well,
That's
that was
not
made in the
cute.
70s. That's
That's not
insane.
cute.
That's insane.
And I'm like, I remember watching Grease as a kid. I'm like, that was so old. And now the kids now are like, High School Musical is so old. And I'm like,
Oh, that's
oh,
so. At least High School Musical, they look like they're even in their 20s playing high schoolers because
true.
I'm sorry. I watched Grease recently and I'm like, they all have 40. They all look like me. They all looked 45 dancing in a high school.
Well, it's just so wild now, to your point, because I was actually just with my friends this weekend. We went to Epic Universe, which, by the way, if you've been curious about Epic, which is a park, a derivative of Universal Studios, I'm making some TikToks over on Taste of Reality. I have more to come, but just if that's something of interest to you and you're a theme park goer. But we were talking about Lizzie McGuire because that just hit 25 years, which is insane as well. But we were talking about the Lizzie McGuire movie, and as a kid, she seemed like a big girl in 8th grade going to high school. Now, and I'm like, wait, she was in Rome gallivanting around with a pop star in Italy and she was only in 8th grade? That's crazy.
That's crazy. And shame on those
Crazy.
chaperones. Those chaperones thought
Shame,
they were
shame,
doing it.
shame.
And they were leaving that eighth grade girl on mopeds. That's not safe.
It's not safe, but it's just so wild. As a kid, I'm just like, oh my gosh, 8th grade, you're such a like grown up. And now I'm 30 and I'm like, wait, you're only in 8th grade gallivanting around Rome? That's insane. So it's just wild to watch things you did as a child with adult eyes. And A, you realize how old the people actually look. And two, it's like, that would have flown. So it's
Never.
funny to watch things as an adult that you loved as a child.
Exactly. Well, and it's so funny because I watched Grease like a million times as a child, and then I watched it as an adult, and I'm like, oh, Rizzo thought she was pregnant. And I'm like, how did I watch the movie 20,000 times? Like Dirty Dancing, I had no idea what the premise was when I was watching it as a kid. I watched it as an adult, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't believe I watched that. I can't believe, the whole premise of this is about, this woman being pregnant. It's amazing.
Oh my
Amazing to
gosh.
watch things as an adult. Can we talk about Sami Sheen and Lola Sheen real fast? Speaking of petty drama, okay, these are Denise Richards' kids, her two
Yes.
daughters, with Charlie Sheen.
Right.
And these two human beings could not be any more polar opposite. If you watch Denise Richards and her Wild Things, it was a one season show on Bravo. I thought it was cute. But Sami is the older one. She's, very out there. She's just very public with her life.
She was
And
an OF girl,
yeah,
which,
exactly.
not speaking anything negatively there, but just to paint a picture of how polar opposite she is of her younger sister.
Because her younger sister is like Jesus girl. Like she's very religious. Her faith is what leads all of her decisions. Like she's one of those people that brings up scripture in
Has it
every
in their Instagram
conversation.
bio, kind of personality, whatever.
Exactly. So point being, they're two complete opposites. Sami has accused Lola of stealing her boyfriend. Lola says it didn't happen. Do I feel ridiculous having this conversation? Yes. But do I need this petty drama? And for Denise Richards, she's had so much going on with Aaron,
Yeah.
and now she's got to look at the girls doing this in the media. Like, justice for Denise. Let's give your mom a
Denise
break.
will never know peace. Literally, since she was, honestly, I don't think she's ever had a peaceful life. Even going back to years and years ago, she was dealing with the Charlie Sheen of it all. And I can't imagine how difficult that was and
Right.
all the public backlash and scrutiny she's been through. Oh my gosh, I can't. I hope that she can lay her head down on her pillow at night and sleep well because that
You know,
sucks.
years ago, I was really sick and home for a while. And I just decided to put on Denise's original reality show. I think it was
Yeah.
made in 2007.
Okay.
And it was a really good, like, POV check. I had forgotten how unbelievably popular she was. She was at the point where she didn't leave her house for months at a time because paparazzi, it was a really bad time
Yeah.
for paparazzi. They were all over Britney Spears at the
Yeah.
time.
What a horrible
Paparazzi
time.
was
And
at a really, really disgusting point culturally. And Denise was pretty much homebound. And you forget, bless you, my dearest.
thank you.
Bless you,
Thank
dearest.
you. No, I didn't
It was
cover my
just,
nose. I'm in my own home. It's fine.
yeah, we're not getting your germs via
Exactly.
viral. We're not getting your virus virally.
Yep. I think social media is bad in a lot of ways, but I also think it helped course correct the paparazzi culture
Amen.
because so I think that that's a good thing, but then also it's bad because when celebrities go out to eat, you're like gonna be inundated with phones, so like it's a
Right.
blessing and a curse. It stopped the toxic, disgusting nature of paparazzi, but then also it created a new wave of problems.
Right, because now they have to work. Now they have to document everything. So paparazzi, because like for instance, there was this classic story about Princess Diana, how she would always wear the same outfit
Right.
because the paparazzi couldn't use it if it was the same picture over and over and over again. So I feel like you're exactly right. Social media gave celebrities control of their own voice, and if
Exactly.
they're the ones putting things out, it's not news for TMZ. It's not news for Page Six.
Exactly.
It's not news for Us Weekly. So I love that they have that. But at the same time, when your kids
Yeah,
start
no,
putting
that's
things on
hard.
social media, that's got to be really hard for her.
Well, I saw this theory on TikTok, not a theory, but just like whatever. It's not my original thought, but it's 100% true. Sami and Lola are two versions of trauma responses because one went extremely religious fanatical and the other one leaned into sexuality. And I think that is so interesting because imagine your mom being Denise Richards, sex symbol, um, and your dad being Charlie Sheen, the person that uses the sex symbols. So,
Right.
like, the fact they both are literally a caricature of how your children will turn out if your parents are so out there. One of them
Right.
turned to the Bible, the other one leans into what people would
Adult
expect.
films. Right.
Adult films.
Adult content, I should say.
Not
Yeah.
adult content, and that's fine. Not saying one is better than the
Hey, if
other.
it's consensual, I have no problem with it. As long as everybody's of age, it's done legally, there's, ethics behind it's none of my business. Like,
Exactly. Whatever Sammy's living her life, Lola's living her life. And yeah, I feel for Denise Richards. I feel like she has just never had it easy.
The
at
poor girl
all.
knows no peace.
She really, I feel for her. I can't imagine adopting a special needs child, and all of being a special needs parent is hard, end of sentence, period.
Right.
Never mind being in the public eye, never mind going through a really contentious divorce, who it sounds like there's been some level of abuse in there on every level, having an ex who is in and out of like mental health crises, who is broke, and then having daughters who are fighting and don't speak to each other. And she was on Housewives like at one point too. Like, I cannot imagine the mental torture and anguish that lives within Denise Richards' household and in her brain. And sometimes it just goes to show it is not greener on the other side.
Right.
I'm totally content living as a plebeian in my home in Florida if it means that I don't get the mental torture and drama and trauma that
Right.
Holly Weird gives. So
You
you know
can't put a
what?
price on peace.
You really
Peace
can't.
is something that I would rather than money, and that's the end of the story.
Agreed. So you know what I love though? I get Sierra Miller in every sense of the word, because Wes Wilson is someone who I'd go for anyway, but I love a guy that is so scrupled, stands in his truth, and fights for women, fights for rights for people that don't look like him. And he will. Wes Wilson, here are your flowers, King.
Yeah, I'm
King.
gonna give you a cheers, West Wilson, because
King.
that's a man. That is a
Man.
man. So we published this morning. First of all, I'm sorry for the people who don't like politics, but it's part of our world. West was wearing
How privileged are you in life if you don't have to
and
think
not have
about
to work.
politics?
I haven't had access to medicine for MS because of politics. So, like, lucky you, Imani. I mean, obviously, just looking at you, politics, I mean, as a Black woman in America, Florida, nonetheless, politics affect you every day. I mean, as a white woman, I understand white privilege, trust me. But, like, as a sick person, like, I don't have medicine anymore. Thanks, government. Politics matter. So, first of all, F ICE,
F
period.
ice.
F ICE. FUCKICE. You are the American Gestapo. You are cosplaying a Nazi. And
Yep.
Wes, first of all, I love comedy. And first of all, ICE is turning into Home Alone. We've seen people hit ice with shovels. They're throwing snowballs. I'm like, okay, this is Home Alone, and I love it. But West was wearing an amazing shirt. The fact that he got this shirt so fast, the ICE, I refuse to use the word agent because they're not trained. They had like 4 weeks of online courses before they were given guns to go out and play Call of Duty with. He's like running to go attack human beings with, lives and families. He slips on the ice and then like slouches down and walks away in shame as he should. And West was wearing a shirt of the ICE Gestapo
Yeah.
member, slipping and falling, and he was just doing his thing,
Yeah, he
dancing.
was dancing.
And then
Hot.
somebody commented, he made another video with their comment, like, I'm never supporting you. I'm not even going to watch Summer House. I'm going to set Summer House on in my mom's house to where even if she doesn't like it, she can wear it because we want them watching Summer
Yeah.
House. Don't worry, Westy, we got
Wes,
you.
we got
Numbers
you,
will
babe.
be up. Numbers will be up. Don't you worry, boo.
And here's the thing, history repeats itself, and people sat by, and on MLK Day, this is a junior day, this is a really topical thing. People sat by, and historically speaking, back in the day, and let atrocious, egregious things happen to marginalized groups, and they said nothing.
Right.
That won't happen here.
No,
We are
no.
not
And he's
able.
this white guy.
Yeah.
And a lot of times those have been the silent people. So the fact that he's using his voice,
Yeah, in 20 years from now, I know that me and Ashley are going to be on the right side of history. And I'm going to
mhm.
feel good that I didn't stand complacent and let people be treated subhuman.
Right.
And
We saw a straight Anne Frank situation. They wanted this woman to get out. I'm like, this is Anne Frank. Literally, this woman who ordered DoorDash is all of a sudden like housing an Anne
housing.
Frank character. Like, this is real life.
It's real life, you guys. And if you feel like you need to
Right.
unsubscribe,
Oh.
reminder, this is not an airport. You don't need to announce your departure. If we
And
are
it's
not,
for
we're going to sign off. Love you guys. Have a great week. F ice. And we love
And
you.
we love you, Martin Luther King, and your impact remains. I'm actually going to head downtown to the parade today.
Perfect. Love you guys. We'll see you next week.